Class 12, good morning. Children, today I'll be dealing with the saving and investment approach. I am drawing this first panel again for you. You have already seen this panel. OX axis is showing you income and output, right? And OY axis is showing you desired expenditure, consumption expenditure of the household and uh, investment. All right. Planned investment and consumption expenditure of the household is shown on the OY axis. This is your 45-degree line, as you are already told. This is your aggregate supply line also. This is composite of C plus S. All right. This is aggregate supply curve also. And then this is your I curve that you have already known. I is your investment curve, that is autonomous investment curve, which is not related to the level of income. This is your C curve, a positively sloping curve, consumption curve. Over here, just vertical summation of these two curves is the result. This is your aggregate expenditure curve. All right. And this is composite of C plus I, consumption plus investment. Now, this was the intersection point where C and I, the income and consumption were equal, and so saving was nil over here in the earlier consumption and saving function. Now, here is the point where you have seen the equilibrium level of income, that is the OY0, and then this was the level of income where that is OY1, where the aggregate supply was greater than aggregate demand by AB amount. This is all we have seen. And this was another level of income, that is Y2, where aggregate demand was greater than aggregate supply by GH amount. We have studied, and this was the point of equilibrium where aggregate demand was equal to aggregate supply in the previous equilibrium determination concept, that was the aggregate demand and supply approach. Now we come to the second panel, that is what we have to focus on. The second panel is the saving and investment panel. All right. This is your important panel for you now. Again, income and output, they are shown on the OX axis, and OY axis is showing you desired saving, right? Desired saving of the household and investment. All right. Now what we see over here, that again this I line will be over here. This is your I line, that is the autonomous investment line as reproduced as it was there in the top panel. This is your I line. And what we see over here, that in the earlier panel we talk about the level of consumption over here. That consumption was showing no saving on the part of consumer. That no saving is shown over here. This is Y0 level of income. This is Y1 level of income. And this is Y2 level of income as shown in your top panel. Now, this was the point where consumption and income was equal. So, the saving was 0. This 0 saving is shown in the lower panel by S curve. And here is your saving curve coming from the below the axis, where these are 0. The saving curve is intersecting the x-axis. That means saving is 0 here, over here, showing the same thing in the top panel also. When we move on from this, the conclusion of this entire illustration is that the economy will be in equilibrium, or the income and output will be determined in an economy where desired saving of the household is equal to planned expenditure of the firm. This is your saving line, children. All right. It's not straight. You should have a straight line. This is the point where saving is equal to desired saving is equal to investment of the firm. So the economy is in equilibrium and the level of income is OY0. Now let us see what happens before and after as it was earlier also, right? I'm just trying to make the diagram for you so that we can only study about the illustration. Now what we see over here in the diagram, that according to this approach, equilibrium level of income is determined at the level where planned investment, this is your planned investment line, is equal to desired planned saving of the household. This is, and that is the level of income is OY0, corresponding to the point of intersection of II curve. This is your II curve and the SS curve. All right. At this level of income, that is OY0, now we connect this to the top panel. The aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply over here. Why both of them they are equal? Because the part of output which is not consumed by the consumer, that is C, is purchased by the investor or the firm. So the entire output that is produced in the economy is exhausted either by the consumer or by the investor, and so desired aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply at this level. Therefore the economy is in equilibrium over here also, right? All other levels, that is whether OY1 or OY2 over here also or over here also, at all other levels of income, desired aggregate demand is not equal to desired aggregate supply. That is what you can see over here, a gap of AB amount over here and a gap of GH amount over here. Therefore, producers would either contract if they are at Y1 level, they will contract. If they are at Y2 level, they will expand. All right. So all other levels, either they will expand their output or they will contract their output as the case would be. Now let us consider why OY1 level of output is not a level of equilibrium. At this level of income, planned saving, this is your saving line, planned saving exceeds planned investment by AB amount, exactly the amount that is there in the top panel. What is happening over here? Here the aggregate supply, this is your aggregate supply line, exceeds aggregate demand line by AB amount. That means desired aggregate demand is is less than aggregate supply because consumption is low over here. Consumption is low due to higher amount of saving. All right. So there is a gap. This level of income is not a equilibrium level of income, because what will happen? Because of this lacuna, because of this feature, because of this shortfall of demand, the producers will have a unintended stock of inventories. They will start reducing the production. They will lay off the workers. The employment will fall, and resultantly the income will continue to fall. This cycle will continue till the economy comes back to the equilibrium level of income. All right. Now come to the OY2 level of income. If the level of income is OY2, the planned investment is greater than planned saving by the GH amount. All right. This is what you can see over here. You can see it over here, right? This is the line actually. This is your line. This is your GH amount. All right. So what is happening? The planned investment is greater than planned saving by GH amount. And that means as a result, the demand for goods, again in the top panel, the demand for the goods will be more. You can see the aggregate expenditure curve is above the aggregate supply curve by the GH amount. This means that the demand for goods will be more than the current production by the GH amount due to higher consumption expenditure. Higher consumption expenditure as the saving of the household is low, right? And a part of the current demand. So the result will be the part of the current demand or will be met by reducing the inventories that are there with the producers, and then they will the producers, after reducing the inventory stock, they will increase the production. They will, so the arrow is like this. They will start to expand. They will increase the production, expand the production, hire more workers to build up their inventories. So the level of income and output and employment will rise and will bulk come back to over zero level of income. So the economy will be in equilibrium where S is